Alright guys, got another mail opening today. Very interesting one today. We've got some very cool stuff in here. I've actually been really looking forward to getting this. I've been a bit disappointed with how long it's taken to come, especially since it's come through Hermes, as things do every time I forget to explicitly tell the seller not to do so. And one time when I did tell them not to do so. Basically every day this week I've been looking forward to getting this, and it hasn't turned up. And if this has been through Hermes and it's taken like what, 5 days, maybe a week, I'm thinking, what's the benefit of Hermes? It's about 5p cheaper, if that. In this instance, it's taken longer. Luckily, my Hermes delivery man is actually quite sound, and he's scared of my dog, so he'd probably be too scared to mess about with one of our parcels. But it's obviously worrying, but the main issue is getting the parcel to that man in the first place. That seems to be the main issue Hermes have. Anyway, we're going to get into this now. There's some interesting stuff in here. This is partly a bundle to sell and partly a bundle to keep. So, yeah, we're going to crack into it. The stuff we're going to keep is going to depend on condition, as it always does. There's some really cool belts in here that I'd really like to keep. But there's a smoking skull belt that doesn't look like it's in particularly good condition. So that's made me a little bit worried about the entire thing. But hopefully this is going to be a really cool bundle. We paid £22 all in, so if things are intact, how am I getting into this? If everything's intact and usable, it should be a really good deal. I think there's about 14 figures to sell on, including another Elite Network Spotlight Shawn Michaels, which means I now have 2 in my store and 1 in my collection. Starting to wonder about how common that figure actually is. There's 2 elites for me to keep, and then a load of belts I'm going to keep. And the first thing that I'm going to pull out is this, which is, it is actually immaculate condition, this. It's actually a John Cena t-shirt, which was randomly thrown into the bundle. Let's try it on. Ooh. It's a bit small for me now, I'm getting fat. I mean, it fits fine, the length is fine. It was just a bit of a struggle to get it over my shoulders. Even though I am putting weight on, but I'm still skinny as a rake, so yeah. Alright, we'll just keep wearing this for the rest of the video, I think. We'll be a John Cena mark for the time being. I'm probably going to sell this, though, truth be told. I might keep it. I don't really need more shirts, and it's John Cena, so I'm not too bothered about having it, but yeah. So the first things we've got to sell on is a freezing. It is cold outside. Del Rio basic. Don't have many of him. Don't know what they sell like. Oh, wow, okay. So we've got to our first belt. This is Damien Sandow basic, so I'm going to take the belt off him. Put that to the side for now. Get into that in a minute. All the joints facing the wrong way. I always quite like this one, but obviously he had an Elite that was very similar, so I prefer that. Came with a very nice robe. Quite an interesting figure. Doesn't really particularly sell very well. His popularity in NWA hasn't really translated to figures quite yet. Basic Big Show. One of the biggest figures you will ever see. Still umming and ahhing on getting his Attitude Era Elite. Probably will eventually, but yeah. Basic Sheamus. All the joints facing the wrong way again. I've not really sold many Sheamus basics, but I assume he's about as popular as Cesaro, and that means he's going to sit in my bag forever. Might actually make sense to pair a Cesaro up with him, I suppose. Who's this? Kofi. All these joints, man. This kid must have loved, like, turning joints around. And these are all in quite good condition, to be honest, so he probably just bought them. Yeah, maybe he just bought them to, like, turn the joints around and then told his man to sell them. Who knows? That is a horrid Kofi head scan. Doesn't really want to focus in there, but he's got, like, terrifying eyes. He sort of looks terrified and terrifying at the same time. His boots are too close together. Whatever. He's getting sold anyway. This is one that's interesting. I've never sold a basic Sting before. He's in really good condition, though. Look, the face paint has no chips on it or anything like that. No dings on him in general. Really good condition. I've sold an Elite Sting, but I haven't sold a basic one before. So we'll see what he does. Network Spotlight Shawn Michaels. I'm sure his joints are supposed to be like that. I'll just leave him there. But yeah, we've got 2 of them in the store now. Say Jack Swagger. Not sure about him, as I don't currently have any in the store, but him being in AEW might up the value. This one's in worse condition than most of them. He's got a more appropriate body type for Jack Swagger than some of his figures. including the one I'm currently using for the next part of WrestleFest. Don't like the head. It does look like him, but it's just boring. Anyway, move on. Wow, this is a bad one. Look at that. Even the legs are span around. Okay. Now, if I'm completely honest with you, I can't tell the difference between the Usos. And if I'm completely honest with you, I don't really care either. So, I'm just going to refer to this guy as an Uso. Another basic Triple H. These are starting to become an issue in my store. Because they always, you list them and they get watches and then nobody buys them. And they just stay there forever. So I'm just building a massive collection of Triple H's. These are an issue as well. In fact, I have this exact figure already in my store. Elite John Cena's. I have picked up so many of these. I've picked up a Defining Moments one from a seller on eBay. I then picked up a Elite one with nice kind of like desert camo trunks on from a charity shop. Then I got one of these from, I think, British Heart Foundation, and now I've got another one. These don't sell very well for elites because it's John Cena. Nobody's really that bothered about buying them. Nobody's not got one, you know. And the joints on this one are appalling. But yeah, we'll probably be able to sell him off quite cheap just because he's an elite. Probably stick him up for like £3 or something because they're just not selling for more than that. Oh, he does come with his cap, so that might help, or I might keep it. Who knows? Oh, we've got the other Uso with the other belt, which is also in great condition. That we'll get into in a second. Lovely. And then finally we have, this isn't in as good condition, though I probably will sell that. Finally we have a Dean Ambrose basic. These don't sell particularly well either. Again, despite his success in AEW, they don't seem to want to go. It took me about 4 months to sell an elite version of him, which did eventually sell, but what can you do? Anyway, that's all the stuff that I got that was in the bundle that I'm just planning on selling on. So next off, we'll talk about these belts. So first of all, the one that was on Ambrose was this World Heavyweight title belt, which it's one I've always kind of wanted to pick up in Mattel because I've just been using a Jax one. It doesn't really fit very well, but it is dinged. There's very little of the red dots still intact. Plates quite scraped up. Even on the back, the plates are quite scraped up. So we'll probably just eBay that, see what we can do with it. The titles that I'll tell you what, I'll reach in to see how the Smoking Skull one's doing. Oh, actually, the Smoking Skull one doesn't look too bad. I might keep that. It looked on a picture like the smoke was like wear, and that the black just was a bit faded. The black is a bit faded. There's not much black in there, but not too bad. We'll probably keep that. So after all, we'll probably keep that and sell the heavyweight one, which is just flipped around. And then the two belts I was most interested in, the one that was on the Sandow and the one that was on the Uso, which was a bit weird, was the classic WWF tag team titles. I was worried these were going to be in condition like the heavyweight belt, but actually these are really immaculate. So there's a good chunk of our investment back right there, because these sell for loads. I'm not going to sell them. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with them though, because I quite like using the belts I'm already using. Don't really know why. Thing is, tag team wrestling is such a ball ache to animate. We'll see what I fancy doing with those. And then finally, we've got the two elites I'm going to keep. So first of all, assuming they're in good condition, which this guy's jacket is not. First of all, we have Goldust. Check the joints. Take dings all over the back of his head. A couple of dings on that shoulder. A random armband, but only one on. Just one elbow pad for him that day. He is actually quite dinged up, which is a bit of a shame. So maybe using... I don't really got any plans for Goldust anyway. I mean, he'd probably fit in my Fed, but I don't really got any plans for him, so we'll see what happens. He's a bit dinged up, but it's probably fine. Probably hold on to him for a while, see what happens. Chuck him in the star if he's not doing anything. And the most important figure, I hope this is in good condition, because I was really hoping to pick one of these up at some stage before I go into animate the main event of WrestleFest. It feels like the joints might not be perfect, but it is defining moments, I believe. Steve Austin. These loose go for about £15, so £22 for the whole thing was pretty good. It's probably worth it for the Goldust and the Austin. It was definitely worth it for the Goldust, the Austin, and the tag belts. Everything else is gravy that we're just going to sell on anyway. Leg is a bit loose, but we'll just stiffen that up with a bit of super glue. It'll be fine. Yeah, I was really hoping to get an Austin in ring gear for a reasonable price before we do the WrestleFest. thing. I do actually have Defining Moments Austin, but it's boxed. I refuse to open it. It would have been nice if he came with all three of his belts rather than just the Smoking Skull one, but we at least got the best one. We do already have a copy of each of the other two, so it doesn't really matter. And we did get the tag belts and stuff as well anyway, so I should have really looked at the guys' other listings in case they were listed in like a different bundle. I didn't really look, but yeah. Point is, we got Austin, we got Goldust, we got some good belts, we got this shirt that we're going to sell, we got the 14 wrestlers we're going to sell, World Heavyweight belt. Hopefully, this is going to be a good investment. I'm going to stiffen this guy up, buff off some of these like minor marks on his legs and stuff, and then he's going to face Dolph Ziggler at WrestleFest. Alright, thank you for watching, and goodbye.